This is New York's #1 news, Channel 7 Eyewitness News, with Ken Rosado and Shirlene Ellicott, Heather O'Rourke with traffic, and Bill Evans with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast. Now, Eyewitness News this morning.
Breaking news at 6 o'clock, 6 people hurt, including firefighters, in a 5-alarm fire in the East Village. Newscast 7 headed to the scene right now.
Severe storms uprooted trees, knocked out power, caused flooding across the tri-state. We have live team coverage on the damage and this morning's cleanup.
And a very good morning to you. I'm Ken Rosado.
I'm Michelle Charlesworth in for Shirlene Ellicott on this Wednesday, October 3rd.
And this is John Del Giorno live in Newscast 7 over the East Village, the scene of a 5-alarm fire that firefighters have been battling now for over 4 hours. These are live pictures from Newscast 7. We can show you with Street Spotter 7 exactly where we are. First Avenue between East 11th and East 12th Street. Fire broke out in this apartment building just before 2 o'clock this morning, and firefighters have run into a problem now in the rear of a building. There's a fire in a setback, and they're having a tough time getting access to it back here. This is a stubborn blaze, more than 4 hours. There are 6 people injured here. We're told right now 4 firefighters have been injured. 2 civilians have been injured. None of those injuries are reported to be serious right now. They're all minor. That's the latest report that we got. But this fire, 5 alarms, still not yet under control. Worth noting that First Avenue is closed, will be for quite a while. We'll be back in just a few minutes with an update on all those traffic closures. But for now, we're live over the East Village. John Del Giorno, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, John, thank you so much. At 6:03 and developing right now, severe weather leaving behind a mess across the tri-state. Trees coming crashing down onto homes and cars, and flooding is blocking several roads.
Crews have been working around the clock to restore power, clean up the mess. We have team coverage this morning. Eyewitness News reporter Candace McCowan is live in Ronkonkoma, Suffolk County, with the very latest. Candace.
Yeah, Michelle, Ken, I can tell you in the past couple of minutes, we've heard that sound of the chainsaw firing up here. We are along Mohican Avenue here in Ronkonkoma, where there were 2 downed trees here earlier this morning. I want to show you one thing. Down this street, there's this car coming down there, but you can see for the most part, it's pretty much a black hole down there. They don't have any power along this street this morning. A lot of people getting dressed, so give them a break if they show up with 2 mismatched shoes at work this morning. But I know one road over, they have a massive tree that has blocked another street. Now, the rush is on to get this all clear before school buses start rolling this morning. There are several trees down, including crashing through fences and cars, and the National Weather Service saying that there were straight line winds in that storm. They came through around 11:30 last night, leaving behind the damage. At one point, there were more than 400 power outages here in Ronkonkoma. That's since improved, but some are still in the dark trying to get dressed for work.
I couldn't see anything. I had to use my little, iPhone. It was crazy. It was like really loud. And a lot of thunder, lightning. It was very intense.
Yeah, and these crews have really been hard at work this morning. We can tell you we've seen a massive difference in the amount of debris that was on the roadway here. So if you can imagine this debris on the roadway, there's also debris on the railroads this morning. They are dealing with some signal damage. So they're telling people if you take the Montauk branch to give yourself some extra time this morning. Everyone should give themselves some extra time here in Suffolk County this morning because there's a lot of debris on the roadway. Live in Ronkonkoma this morning, Candace McCowan, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you so much, Candace. From Suffolk to Westchester County, we turn to Eyewitness News reporter Derek Waller, live in White Plains, with new video of the problems there. Derek, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. We have some pretty bad issues with flooding this morning. I'll show you what's going on right now on the Bronx River Parkway here by the Westchester County Center. That is a front-end loader that's been moving through this area, trying to clear some of the debris that's been piled up on the road because we had a standing water underneath this overpass overnight. In fact, a crew is just over here trying to clean that up. We have some video we can show you that we shot in the last hour of a Westchester County DOT crew out here just picking through that storm drain, trying to clear that debris so that that water can recede. And in fact, much of that water has now receded. We also have some video showing some of the damage from overnight. A lot of high winds that toppled trees, giant trees on top of homes, on top of power lines, and on top of some cars as well. This is damage we've seen here in Westchester, Rockland counties, Fairfield County, Connecticut as well. In fact, the National Weather Service, they're going to be out today surveying for tornado damage because there was a tornado warning in this area yesterday, and so they'll have their crews out today trying to see if, in fact, that was the case. Back out here live, the Westchester County crew is still out here working this morning on the parkway, trying to get that clear for drivers. That is a big concern this morning if you're driving around. There are some flooded streets, and so it's going to be a little difficult to get around this morning. We're live here in White Plains. I'm Derek Waller, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Derek. At 6:06, new information now. The NYPD officer accused of breaking into a home in Nashville and threatening the people living inside has turned himself into local police there. 24-year-old Michael Reynolds being held in Tennessee on burglary and other charges. The homeowner says he drunkenly kicked in her front door and started yelling racial slurs at her and her family. The NYPD has suspended Reynolds without pay.
This morning, 4 men accused of killing an innocent 67-year-old woman on Staten Island are waking up behind bars. Frances Williams was shot by the stray bullet in New Brighton back in July. Police have been on the hunt for her killer ever since. Early yesterday morning, police say they arrested 4 men who were shooting at another man nearby.
I'm happy that they got the people who did it. At least she gets justice, because a lot of people don't get that out here. It's ridiculous how we lose a person to violence that she has nothing to do with.
Police charged all 4 suspects with murder. However, investigators have not said which suspect actually pulled the trigger.
6:07, new reports this morning that FBI could wrap up its investigation into Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh as early as today. This as President Trump mocked the woman accusing Kavanaugh of sexual assault. ABC's Emily Rao. That's the latest from Washington.
President Trump spent his Tuesday night in Mississippi getting laughs from the crowd as he openly mocked Christine Blasey Ford, who claims Brett Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her while drunk at a high school party in the early 80s.
How'd you get there? I don't remember. Where is the place? I don't remember. How many years ago was it? I don't know.
While his son, Don Jr., denied the president was mocking Blasey Ford, her attorney sending this scathing tweet, calling President Trump's remarks a vicious, vile, and soulless attack, going on to say he is a profile in cowardice. Blasey Ford's team now saying they've sent letters and emails to the FBI with no response, calling the situation inconceivable, demanding to speak to the agent in charge. Overnight, the New York Times releasing this 1983 letter from Kavanaugh to his prep school friends ahead of a trip to the beach, saying, quote, warn the neighbors that we're loud, obnoxious drunks. Before leaving the White House for Tuesday night's rally, reporters asking President Trump what message he's sending to young men.
Well, I say that it's a very scary time for young men in America when you can be guilty of something that you may not be guilty of. This is a very difficult time.
And his message for women?
Women are doing great.
And as we inch closer to that Friday deadline for the FBI investigation, sources are now telling ABC News that the investigators could wrap up before then, possibly even as early as today. In Washington, Emily Rao, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Emily. And for the very latest developments on the Supreme Court showdown, stick with Eyewitness News for updates on air and online at ABC7NY.
6:09 tonight. It is win or go home. The Yankees take on the Oakland A's in the AL wildcard game in the Bronx. Luis Severino will take the mound for the Yankees. This marks the Yankees' 3rd wildcard game in the past 4 years. First pitch, 8 o'clock tonight.
6:09, the Mega Millions jackpot jumped past the $400 million mark overnight. Nobody hit it big in last night's $367 million drawing. Now the jackpot, 405. The winning numbers were 2, 22, 29, 31, 34. Mega Ball was 1. Yahtzee. The next drawing is Friday. You're going to have another shot at a fortune tonight because Powerball is a whopping $229 million. You can catch the winning numbers on Eyewitness News at 11 and at ABC7NY.
Good luck. You're never more than 7 minutes away from weather and traffic.
You're at 6:12 right now, and new this morning, toxic waste near MetLife Stadium. Details on the multi-billion-dollar cleanup plan. A fight breaks out on school grounds, and one of the people throwing punches, not a student. It's a school worker, an adult. The Connecticut district is responding this morning. Plus, tests are underway right now after an envelope with a suspicious substance was intercepted at the Pentagon. And see, the new video of severe flooding was the perfect scene for this surfer dude. Also, we're staying on top of breaking news. 6 people hurt, including some firefighters in a 5-alarm fire in the East Village. You're looking at live pictures from Newscopter 7. We'll have an update live coming up next.
And you were looking at live pictures from Newscopter 7 of a 6-alarm fire that continues to burn here on the east side of Manhattan. This is on 1st Avenue between East 11th and East 12th Street. This fire's been burning for over 4 hours now. This began before 2 o'clock this morning. And you can see the building on fire largely takes up the entire block here between East 11th and East 12th Street. From the front, this doesn't look like much. The problem is in the rear of the building, and you can see the narrow alleyway behind that building. That's why firefighters having a difficult time getting this fire extinguished. Still, 6 injuries here. We're told 4 firefighters, 2 civilians injured. All of those injuries appear to be minor. One thing I want to point out here, look, the fire department's using a drone to keep an aerial look over the top of this, but it is not yet under control. One last note on traffic. 1st Avenue shut down, and it will be for quite a while with all this equipment. 1st Avenue closed from East 7th up through East 14th Street. We're live over the East Village. John Del Giorno, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Johnny D, thank you, sir. It's 6:16 and testing underway right now on the envelope addressed to President Trump that contained a substance suspected to be ricin. The Secret Service says the envelope never entered the White House. 2 similar envelopes were sent to the Pentagon, and they have initially tested positive for being potentially hazardous. All 3 letters are believed to be connected. Ricin is a highly toxic compound that causes vomiting and internal bleeding if ingested.
A school employee in Connecticut is facing suspension and anger management training after being caught on camera fighting with a student. Investigators found the student was unnecessarily provoked when he was pushed from behind by Frank Redente Jr. This happened in May at Wilbur Cross High School in New Haven. Redente and the student ended up on the floor in a violent confrontation that shocked a retired school police officer.
There could have been a better way to handle that. And again, as a former SRO for 7 years in the system, that is not the way you want to handle that.
A report by the school district notes the student involved has a history of discipline problems. Redente, whose father is on the New Haven School Board, has been assigned to a different school.
New this morning, there's a plan to clean up a creek that wraps around MetLife Stadium, which is one of the most contaminated freshwater sites in the entire nation. The EPA announced a $332 million plan to clean up Berries Creek, a Superfund site with the highest levels of mercury and industrial chemicals of freshwater ecosystems anywhere in the United States. That's because a mercury processing plant operated there for some 4 decades. The cleanup will be paid for by more than 100 companies. 6:18, new video showing a man taking advantage of severe flooding in Arizona caused by Hurricane Rosa. Check this out. You can see the guy trying to surf in a flooded street in Scottsdale. Not too much surfing going on in Phoenix nowadays. Good to see you, guys. The storm made for one of the rainiest days ever in the Phoenix area. While roads and schools were closed because of the flash flooding, this amateur surfer, very amateur surfer, it was his only chance to feel like he was living on one of the coasts.
Thank heaven for the fools. I love that. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Get out there. All right.
Surfing in your swimming pool.
Meteorologist Bill Evans joins us now with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast.
That is the only water we suggest that you try to work your way through, okay? But you got to bring your own surfboard, all right? Here we go. We have partly cloudy skies, and this is One World Trade. Last night, One World Trade was dancing in the lightning. This is from Max Giuliani from Twitter. Thank you, Max. He does great work. You can see his stuff on his Twitter page. But last night, One World Trade hit 13 times with down lightning. It's right there. See that? And you can see there's some other branches that go out to the sides with down lightning there, 1 billion volts of energy, and down lightning the size of a pencil. Isn't that great? 1 billion volts of energy can power the entire United States grid for a whole day. 1 bolt of lightning. Wish we could harness that. Thank you, Max.
All right, Deb, thank you. It is 6:22. A teen gets ambushed with paintballs. Coming up ahead at 6:30, the search for the man who left this teen bruised and traumatized.
That's awful. Actress Ruby Rose is dangerous. Hear why searching for her online could cause you some serious tech problems. Stay with us.
On the money this morning, the Dow starts the day 122 points higher at 26,773, and right now futures are pointing to a higher open.
Japan's Nikkei average and Hong Kong's Hang Seng index both fell overnight. 6:25 right now, a security software company warns that searching for actress Ruby Rose online could infect your device with a virus. According to the new report, the Orange is the New Black star is the most dangerous celebrity name to search. Experts say some of the search results for Rose can lead to websites that carry viruses. Reality star Kristen Cavallari is the second most dangerous celebrity to search. Actress Marion Cotillard is third.
You spoke French. It is 6:25. Apple is giving iPhone and iPad users more ways to express themselves with a new set of emojis. The newest cartoons are going to be released later this month with the iOS 12.1 update. Apple will now offer a llama emoji along with a raccoon, bagel, frisbee, and mosquito. A mosquito emoji.
Finally, breaking news in the East Village. New information just coming in about a big fire there. We're getting a live update from Newscopter 7.
Powerful storms knocked down trees and power lines, flooding roads as well. We have live team coverage.
Local politicians are riding the rails today. They want to hear from you how you can sound off on the state of the subways.
This is breaking news from Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And that breaking news, 9 people hurt, including 7 firefighters in a 5-alarm fire in the East Village. 2 nearby schools will now have to make a decision about whether to cancel classes today.
Let's get right to John Del Giorno live over that scene in Newscopter 7. John.
And Michelle, you can see the problem here is in the rear of this apartment building. You're looking at live pictures from Newscopter 7, First Avenue between East 11th and 12th Streets. The fire broke out here just before 2 o'clock this morning. Firefighters on the scene now for more than 4.5 hours battling this blaze. This is a 5-alarm fire now that began in the apartment building, but it spread to a small setback in the rear of the building. There's a real difficult time for firefighters to access that point because of a narrow alleyway. We just heard from the fire department that explained a little bit more about how difficult it's been to fight this fire.
Much of the roof on the first floor extension has burned away, but because of the collapse hazard, we can't get in there, and that's the problem why we can't put this fire out right now.
And that's the setback that he's talking about right in this picture. And you can see they're waiting for the roof to completely collapse. Until that happens, they can't put firefighters back there because of the danger. We're now told 9 people have been injured here, 7 firefighters, 2 civilians. All of those injuries reported to be minor. Ken, earlier you mentioned the proximity of the schools. You can see on the right side of your screen, that's one of the schools, the Eastside Community School. Right now, officials making a decision whether to open the school or not. This is not because of the danger of the fire, but because of the smoke. 5 other buildings here have been evacuated because of that smoke, and you can also see First Avenue remains closed through the area. We're live over the East Village. John Del Giorno, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you so much. 6:32. Developing this morning, people across the tri-state are waking up to damage from those powerful storms last night. Roads are flooded, some blocked by trees, and people are waiting anxiously to get their power back on. Eyewitness News reporter Candace McCowan is live in Ronkonkoma, Suffolk County, with more for us. Candace, good morning.
Michelle, good morning. Where we are, the power is still out here along Mohican Avenue here in Ronkonkoma. I can tell you, though, the roadway looks much better because we've seen crews loading up trucks like this one and taking out loads and loads of debris. I've seen at least 6 of these trucks leaving just this area this morning, but this storm really left a mess behind. The storm came through, bringing down multiple trees, including we have video of one that left a hole in a fence. Some trees came down, their branches crashing into cars. There were several power lines down in the storm, with those straight line winds at the National Service saying that storm came through around 11:30 last night, with damage reported from Bayshore to Islip to Ronkonkoma. And we know overnight there were reports of 400 power outages here in Ronkonkoma alone. We understand that that situation has improved a lot, but there's still some people who are waking up to no power this morning. Thank goodness for iPhones, many of them using the flashlights on their iPhones. We've been seeing them this morning as they were leaving. Again, power has been restored to many people, but not all. Back here live this morning as people head out, they're asking you to be cautious. There's a lot of debris still on the roadway. They were working to clear it up before those school buses hit the road. There's a school bus we see now that couldn't have gotten by down this road earlier this morning, but the crews were working extensively just to get this roadway cleared so that they could get the kids to school this morning. Again, those delays on LIRR this morning, they're telling everyone to give themselves some extra time along the Montauk branch. Live here in Ronkonkoma, Candace McCowan, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Candace, thank you. From Long Island, we go to the northern suburbs, also hit hard by the storms. This morning, weather officials will be headed out to see if a tornado may have touched down. Eyewitness News reporter Derek Waller, live in White Plains, right in the heart of Westchester County with more. Derek?
And Ken, good morning to you. We do have a little bit of breaking news. We've had some issues with flooding this morning here on the Bronx River Parkway, and I can tell you that the northbound lane is now back open, but the southbound not so much. We've still got some issues with flooding. That storm drain there, you see the water's not going down. It is coming right back up. So crews are out here. They're still trying to clear some of this standing water. They've been doing a great job of it, though. It has been going down. We have some video we can show you from the last hour or so. Those Westchester County DOT crews out here picking at those storm drains, just trying to get that water to go down, and it certainly has been doing that. So that's good news. We also have some video of some of the damage from overnight. Huge trees that fell on top of homes, on top of cars, and on top of power lines here in Westchester County. Also similar scenes in Rockland counties and Fairfield County, Connecticut. In fact, the National Weather Service, they're going to be out today surveying that damage, trying to figure out if a tornado touched down yesterday. There was certainly a tornado warning for time yesterday, and a neighbor we spoke to said it certainly felt like it.
All of a sudden, the wind picked up, and I saw my back fence by my pool just blow away. Just quickly, it happened, and it just lasted 10 minutes, and then it was done. But so much damage.
Yeah, so much damage, but this morning the main concern, the main focus right now is the flooding on some of these roads. So if you're headed out this morning, getting in the car, you want to make sure you're aware of that. Be careful heading out this morning. We're live here in White Plains. I'm Derek Waller, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Derek, thank you so much. We're going to keep you posted on the storm damage throughout our area, and you can track weather conditions in your neighborhood anytime at ABC7NY and our free news app.
6:36 right now. Police released new video of two suspects they say stabbed a teenager near the Junction Boulevard subway station in North Corona, Queens. The attack happened last week after the two got into a fight with the 15-year-old boy inside the station. Police say the fight spilled into the street, and that's when one of the men stabbed the teen in the neck and then ran. The boy is in serious but stable condition.
6:36, developing right now. Volcanoes erupted in Indonesia on the same island that was devastated by a deadly earthquake and tsunami. New video showing ash spewing more than 19,000 feet into the sky. Officials are warning passing planes to avoid the area, but have not ordered any evacuations at this point. Experts say that it is possible the eruption was accelerated by the powerful earthquake that hit the island last week. Overnight, the death toll from that earthquake and tsunami rose to more than 1,400 people. Indonesia's president visited the city of Palu today, which was hardest hit. He says that aid is starting to arrive finally to those cut off by the destruction.
It is 6:37 right now. This morning, President Trump is defending his Supreme Court nominee against sexual assault allegations. The president mocked the woman accusing Brett Kavanaugh of holding her down, covering her mouth, and groping her.
How did you get home? I don't remember. How'd you get there? I don't remember. Where is the place? I don't remember. How many years ago was it? I don't know. And a man's life is in tatters.
The president's comments happened at a rally in Mississippi, and they came as the New York Times printed a letter handwritten by Kavanaugh the year after Professor Christine Blasey Ford says he attacked her. In the letter, Kavanaugh tells friends joining him for Beach Week to, quote, warn the neighbors that we're loud, obnoxious drunks with prolific pukers among us. Kavanaugh dismissed questions about his drinking when questioned by senators.
6:38, the New York State Tax Department now reviewing an explosive New York Times report that says President Trump wove together a web of elaborate tax schemes in the 90s. The Times reviewed confidential tax returns and financial records that show President Trump received hundreds of millions of dollars from his father's real estate empire. That was based on today's money, not at the day that he received the money. The paper outlined a series of alleged schemes by Trump and his family to transfer the money into fake corporations to evade millions of dollars in taxes. The White House disputes those allegations, saying the IRS did already review and sign off on transactions from Fred Trump, that's his dad, to his family.
You are never more than 7 minutes away from weather and traffic.
6:40, pelted with paintballs, pelted really hard. A 14-year-old boy covered in welts. Look at that poor guy's legs. After a random attack, we're hearing from his outraged mother.
Toys R Us may be making a comeback. How the retailer is showing signs of a possible return.
And we're staying on top of breaking news, a 5-alarm fire in the East Village. Now, several schools are trying to decide whether they need to cancel their classes right next to that fire, the school building right across the street. A live update from Newscast Oct 7.
And you are looking at live pictures from Newscast Oct 7. We've got an update on this 5-alarm fire that continues to burn in the East Village. This is on 1st Avenue between East 11th and 12th Street. We've been bringing you updates all morning long. A stubborn fire in the rear of an apartment building. Now we're getting some daylight. We can see a little bit more of what's happening. Firefighters talking about how the fire right now contained to this one-story setback in the rear of the building. The problem is access for the firefighters. It's very narrow back here. They can't get a truck directly overhead, so what they're doing is just waiting for that roof to collapse. We mentioned this earlier in the broadcast. You can see right in the center of your picture here. Check that out. That's a fire department drone. The fire department's been using these kind of things more and more just to keep an aerial view of things. It keeps things safer for the firefighters down on the ground. Meanwhile, 1st Avenue still closed from East 7th up through East 14th Street. 9 injuries here, 7 firefighters, 2 civilians. All of those injuries are minor, and the last note is 2 schools directly next to this fire location. Department of Education still making a decision as to whether or not to open those schools today. And we're live over the East Village. John Del Giorno, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, John. We'll be staying on top of that one all morning. It is 6:45, and the mother of a teen ambushed by a man with a high-powered paintball gun in New Jersey now speaking out. The 14-year-old was targeted on the front steps of his Patterson home. He has nearly 24 very deep bruises and welts all over his body. Those photos that we just showed you a moment ago taken at the hospital showing just a small portion of his injuries. The teen's mother says he is traumatized and doesn't want to go back to school.
He's scared, he's terrified. He says, what if this person comes and does something worse to me with a real gun?
The victim says he recognized the suspect, believed to be the older brother of a classmate. The motive for that attack, though, not clear. 6:45, a group of New York City elected officials will ride the subways today to assess transit improvement efforts. The group will visit stations in all 5 boroughs and talk to riders about their experiences. It is the second time officials are touring the underground system in what they call the 24-hour transit tour. Today they will visit stations in Manhattan and the Bronx and will tour Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island tomorrow.
We may still be able to be a Toys R Us kid. The iconic retailer is toying with the idea of a comeback. The Wayne-based company, which closed all of its stores in June, canceled a bankruptcy auction that would have sold off the brand name and other assets. The retailer says it intends to create a new operating Toys R Us and Babies R Us branding company. According to court documents, the company and lenders determined maintaining those brands would be more beneficial than selling.
6:46, meteorologist Bill Evans now with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast.
So, Ken, that's your big shot
yes,
right there because I don't think they're bringing back Jeffrey the giraffe. So
stop it.
You could be the new mascot. It's a big gig.
All right, Debbie, thank you. It is 6:50. Don't be alarmed if you get a text message from the president today. We all will if you have a cell phone. Details on the new alert system.
And hear how often we Americans are chowing down on fast food. Stay with us.
Welcome back at 6:53. Happening today, you're going to receive an alert on your phone from the federal government. Don't let it shock you. For the first time, FEMA will test out a wireless emergency system. The presidential alert will be sent out at 2:18 this afternoon to everybody who has a cell phone. The goal is for the president to be able to reach the country during a national emergency. But a legal challenge has been filed in Manhattan federal court, claiming the government is hijacking Americans' phones for a government-controlled message.
We have a new health alert this morning. More than 85 million Americans admit they eat fast food every day. The CDC study finds wealthier Americans are more likely to eat fast food. Researchers also discovered Americans tend to eat less fast food as they get older. Experts warn fast food is high in sodium and calories, fat too. They say it's linked to obesity, heart disease, diabetes, and other health problems. The busiest car and truck bridge in the whole world has gone pink. The George Washington Bridge lit up pink last night for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. At Channel 7, we are bringing you the emotional stories of breast cancer survivors and their journeys to recovery during a primetime special, Breast Cancer Surprising Discoveries, hosted by Diana Williams. It airs this Saturday. Please watch for it at 7:30 p.m.
6:54, we continue to follow breaking news in the East Village. Check this out from Newscast Oct 7. Firefighters battling the stubborn 6-alarm fire there. 9 people have been hurt, including some firefighters. We'll have a live update from John Del Giorno, Newscast Oct 7 next.
And you're looking at live pictures from Newscopter 7 of what is now a 6-alarm fire in the East Village, and it's a stubborn fire. We're on 1st Avenue between 11th and 12th Streets. Fire broke out here before 2 o'clock this morning in an apartment building. That fire spread to a 1-story setback in the rear of the building. Firefighters having difficult time getting access to it, and that's where this fire continues to smolder. There are 9 injuries here, 7 firefighters, 2 civilians, none of them life-threatening. Meanwhile, the Department of Education deciding whether or not to open 2 adjacent schools this morning due to a smoke condition. And we're live over the East Village. John Del Giorno, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
I'm Candace McCowan live in Ronkonkoma, where crews are working to clean up, loading up trucks like this full of debris after heavy thunderstorms overnight. The rush is on to get this all cleared before school buses continue to roll this morning. There are several trees down, crashing through fences and into cars. LIRR is telling commuters to expect some delays on the Montauk branch because of some weather-related signal damage. There were more than 400 power outages at one point. That is improving. Live here in Ronkonkoma, Candace McCowan, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.